Hey, everybody, this is Dr. William Clark. Happy to be with you for another edition of Leadership Conversations. I wanted to come on and talk about this little book that I wrote called Leadership Development in Your Local Church, Developing a Simple System to Develop Additional Leaders in Your Church. And these series of mini books that I'm putting together are geared towards you, the audience, who's looking for good information in a way that is short and in a short, compact form factor. Certainly, this book kind of fits that mold. I think in the paperback is no more than 30 pages, 35 pages, and then the ebook style is a little over 25 pages. But it's meant to be a quick read for you if you're looking to develop leaders in your local church. But I wanted to talk about this book a little bit, and I plan to do a couple of video series to cover the content in the book, just to share what I was thinking when I was writing this book, and to provide additional commentary that can be useful to you. So out of 4 or 5 sections here, I'm going to cover the first section here, and then we'll share subsequent videos with you on Blab or on YouTube. But on the first section here of the book, I talk about leadership basics, and I think this is kind of a great segue to kind of talk about leadership for those of you who are interested in it and trying to figure out what it means to be a leader. What I say in my opening statement about leadership is that leadership is a process of influencing others to achieve a goal. It is the process of influencing others to achieve a goal. Now, the reason why that definition is so important is because many people have the idea that leaders are born or leaders have certain traits. And to some extent, I think you can kind of make an argument that leaders do have certain traits for whatever variety of reasons. But think about what this definition is saying to you and to I. And it says leadership is the process of influencing others to achieve a goal. Leadership is a process. That suggests that leaders are not born, but they are developed. Even if you believe you don't have the skill sets to be a leader right now in your local church or in your local organization or nonprofit organization, you can become a leader. How you become a leader depends upon you, right? You have to build up your strengths, strengthen up your weaknesses, and figure out how to use those strengths and weaknesses to influence other people. Remember, it's all about influencing other people. That's what leadership is. I remember when I was going through my master's program, and there was significant discussion about who's a leader, who's not a leader. And of course, some of the most outstanding figures in our history came up, and outstanding don't mean that in a positive way, but figures that stood out came up. Someone like Hitler came up, and the idea was, or the conversation was, is Hitler a leader? And many people immediately rushed to the conclusion that he was not a leader because of the crazy and despicable things that he did. But when you peel back the definition of leadership and you kind of digest the idea that leaders influence other people to achieve a common goal, even someone like Hitler is ranked up there with someone like Martin Luther King. They both were able to influence other people to achieve something that was focused for a supposed greater good. And as you take a look at your ability to lead other people and develop other people in your local church or in your nonprofit, the goal is to coordinate people's actions towards something that they too agree that it is important for us to achieve this. Now, you have to strengthen your leadership skills in order to get people to develop over time. But a lot of that is based upon your ability to influence people. How do you influence people? How do you get people to buy into something that's greater than themselves? Well, one of the things you do, as we talk about in the book here, Leader Development in Your Local Church, is to understand what motivates people. How do you align people's personal goals and personal interests and personal desires with the goals of the organization? It's very difficult to get people who are stubborn to buy into something greater than themselves. And so you work around that by understanding what people are working towards in their personal life and try to see how that aligns with that of the organization. And in some cases, you may come to the conclusion that the person that I'm trying to work with or develop may not be the right fit for the organization because what they're trying to accomplish personally or even professionally may not line up with what we're trying to do as an organization. But for those people who are left in an organization that have an alignment there, that's how you gain influence with them. You try to figure out the best ways to connect their personal goals with those of the organization. And what ends up happening when you do stuff like that is not only does the person benefit, but the organization benefits. There's a dual benefit here. When someone has personal goals that align with the organization, what you start to understand or realize is that they give their all to not only their goals, but they give their all to the goals of the organization at the same time. In some instances, the employee or the follower may not realize it, but you as a leader, as you're developing people in the role of leader and future leaders, you start to see their commitment rise. You start to see their impact rise. All that they're doing may seem for themselves, but because you've done the work of aligning their personal goals with the goals of the organization, it's giving 110% to that of the organization. The last thing I talk about in terms of basic leader development is that developing leaders requires some sort of system. You got to have a system in place to develop leaders. The reason why you need a system in place to develop leaders is so that you can have consistent outcomes when you develop different people. Now, when you bring people into your leadership system, you're not bringing in the same personality, the same person who has the same ideas or feelings or backgrounds. So you're bringing in a lot of diversity into your organization when you decide that it is time to develop other leaders. So in order to have consistency and the outcome of leaders that are on the bench and ready to go when time is when it's their time to lead, you have to have a strong system in place. Now, we talk about the different systems in place in this particular book, but your system cannot be watch me and do what I do. Your system cannot be obey all of my directives and don't question them. Your system has to be a little bit more broader than that. Now, I don't go into extreme detail in the book in terms of all the type of systems that are there, but I do talk about one particular system, and that is the system of coaching. You can develop people through coaching by you being their coach. A coach is someone who encourages the player on the field to do X, Y, and Z during real live game time. You're not trying to be the player on the side. You're not trying to live your life through the life of the player, but you're guiding someone as they're figuring out the game as it's happening. And so during the next Blab video, we'll talk about development of leaders through coaching. But regardless of the system you decide to implement, you got to have a system in place so that you can have consistent outcomes with the leaders you're looking to develop. I am enjoying writing about leadership, and these mini books are great. Great ways for me to share the different things that I'm working on. It's a great way for you, the audience, to figure out, how do I develop leaders in my own context? How do I develop leaders in my own church in this particular instance? So I look forward to sharing more videos with you all. And if you have questions, feel free to shoot me an email. And by the way, you can capture this book. You can get this book, Leader Development in Your Local Church, by going to my website, and that's williampclark.com. That's williampclark.com. And if you click on the book, Leader Development in Your Local Church, you'll see the icon pop up. And in the description at the bottom of the book, you will see I tell you how to get your free copy. All you got to do is shoot me an email and you will get your free copy. It's a free copy for you and anybody else that wants it. So go to williampclark.com, pick up your free copy of Leader Development in Your Local Church, and select that book and try to get your free copy. I will send it to you quick, fast, in a hurry. All right, everybody, it's all the time I have this morning, but I look forward to having this conversation with you about developing leaders in your local church, and I'll see you next time for another edition of the Leadership Conversations. Talk to you guys soon.